Hi guys, welcome to the lesson on solubility of ionic compounds. So what is solubility? Well, solubility refers to the ability of something to dissolve in water. If it dissolves in water, it is known as soluble. When we have an ionic compound, it can be known as soluble, dissolve in water, or dissolve in a liquid. Usually that liquid is water, or it will not dissolve in water and it will be known as insoluble. So ionic solids, they can have three varying degrees of their solubility. They can be highly soluble, which means they dissolve in water, just like this picture over here, or they may only be slightly soluble, so only some of it will dissolve in water, or they can be insoluble, which means they will not dissolve in water, as shown in this image here. So insoluble is over here, soluble is here. And solubility just refers to, in the context of an ionic substance, the ability to dissociate or split up positive and negative charges, and that's shown in the image on the right. So here's sodium chloride, or table salt, and it's made up of positive cations, negative anions in the lattice of an ionic compound. So lots of those repeating units. When they break up in their water molecule, so that's the water molecule there, and here's the positive cations, and here's the negative anions. They dissociate or break up. There's the positive ones, there's the negative ones. That is known as dissociation, and that will be soluble in water. So just some equations to show how ionic compounds dissolve in water. Here's the ionic compound, the salt, potassium bromide. It's a solid, and when placed in water, it will dissociate into its ion forms. So we have the potassium ion, and we have the bromide ion, K plus and Br negative. Notice how the symbols there are AQ, which stands for aqueous, whereas the symbol for potassium bromide is solid. It's a solid substance with a salt, it will dissociate in water, just like we saw before in the image with sodium chloride. The next one here, we've got a polyatomic compound. We've got magnesium nitrate. Again, it's a solid. That will form into its ions, magnesium, aqueous form, and nitrate. And of course, it's a balanced chemical equation. Left and right, the products over here and the reactants over here have the same amount. When two ionic compounds are placed in a solution and they don't dissolve, or if their two ionic compounds are mixed, they can sometimes make an insoluble substance or product. That's called a precipitate. So when you have an insoluble compound in the liquid, that's known as precipitate. So if we were to put magnesium nitrate, aqueous form, so magnesium is dissolved in water, sodium carbonate, again dissolved in water. If we were to put those two together, we'd have two compounds. We have magnesium carbonate, that's a precipitate, so it's a solid substance given by the S. And then we have sodium nitrate there. So that is, again, dissolved in water. So we'd have two liquid solutions, liquid here plus liquid here. They go and form a solid compound, so there'd be a little bit of solid in there, or cloudy substance, and then we'd also have the liquid here. So when you mix those two together, you'd have no longer a see-through clear liquid. Like over here, this would be a clear liquid. Then over here, we've got the solid forming, which would give a cloudy appearance to the particular compound, to the particular solution. The summary of this video: solubility is a measure of which compounds dissolve in water. Ionic compounds can dissociate, so the positive ions, positive cations, and the negative anions will separate to form their charged particles. And that's when you know that they have dissociated or they have solubilized in water. The degree that they dissociate is the degree they dissolve. So the more they dissociate, the more readily soluble they are. The less they dissociate, the less readily soluble they are. And if an ionic compound does not dissolve in water, it performs a precipitate or a solid compound or cloudy mixture. Thanks for watching.